Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, and connected an epiphany of mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore. Check the links below so you can support me so I can continue doing this work. Thank you. And if you would like a beautiful business card holder with gems inside, put your fun stuff in here. A solid business card holder. Pyramids. Different sizes, different types, paintings, and all that kind of fun stuff. Please go see my website, AllyKatzkreations211.com. That's another way you could support me. Things are getting grave. And I'm trying not to have that belief system anymore. Also have these cool little coasters. They're a little warped. Fun though. Check me out. Oahspe. Book of the Arcabon. I don't know if my dyslexia doesn't get in the way and my projection doesn't get in the way. I'm going to try to finish this section today. It's lengthy. I will see how I feel. I have my coffee here to wake me up, even though it's like mid-afternoon here. Also, check out my TikTok channel, AllyKat211. K as in K-A-T, just like everything else. The link is in the description. Getting a lot of followers there, a lot of good seeding and things that I believe people need to hear. Short and condensed. So check me out there, follow and seek me out on all my social media. So we're going to start with, I want to say, chapter 26. Buckle up. Jehovah said unto Sheen, now will I stir up the nations. Through thee will I show them the glory and dominion of my kingdom. For thou shalt walk without feet, write without hands, hear without ears, see without eyes, and thou shalt rise in the air as a bird. By thy own will go whithersoever thou wilt. And thou shalt bring down the thunder cloud, and at the sound of thy voice the rain shall fall. And thou shalt say, go away, ye clouds, and the sun will shine in the place thereof. And thou shalt come to some that are hungered, and thy voice shall rise up to me, and I will send down from heaven the flood of heaven, the food of heaven, and thy people shall eat thereof and be appeased. And thou shalt stretch up my hand over thy dead that are ready for the furnace, and they shall come to life again and be made whole. For these are the testimonies that thou art my servant, and hast kept my commandments, in which thou shalt say to them, behold me, I am but a man. Why fall ye down before the gods and worship them? For I charge you, O all you people, ye shall not worship me nor call me but a man striving to do the will of thy Father, the Creator. For whosoever becometh one with him, to such a man are many miracles possible. Howbeit, I declare unto you, they are not miracles in fact, but possibilities granted by Jehovah unto the upright who serve him in act and truth. Jehovah said to Sheen, and when thou hast shown these things unto many, know thou thy time on the earth is finished. For I will cast thee in a trance, and the people shall bewail, saying, alas, he is dead. And they shall cover thee, and cast thy body into the furnace in the way of the dead, and the fire shall blaze and consume thy body before them. But thou shalt have previously bid them watch by the furnace, for thou shalt gather together the elements of the burnt body and restore them, and again inhabit it and go about preaching before men. Therefore get thee ready, declaring these prophecies beforehand, that they may be testified to by man, and to be recorded in the libraries of the kings and queens. Sheen related unto the congregations of Faithists and the true Zarathustrians that Oahspe Jehovah had said, and many of them wept bitterly. In years prior to this, when Sheen had traveled and preached by the voice of Jehovah, he visited the kings and princes and rich men in many regions, and whilst he was thus speaking, rebuking them for their governments and for their possessions, they took no part against him. But afterward, when he was gone, the kings and queens and nobles said Sheen had preacheth a dangerous doctrine, for he said, Thou shalt have no king but the Creator, who is king over all. Will not this set our slaves against us? And if the people go into communities of their own, ignoring the king, where will the king find his revenue? And there were priests of Deus and of other gods, and speakers in temples, oracles, where the gods wrote on the sand tables. Besides these, there were seers and prophets without number. And the kings, being on the alert, went into the matter, inquiring of the spirits as to whether the doctrines of Sheen were true. And some of the spirits said, There is no all person. Behold, we have visited the stars and the sun, and looked up and near, and we saw not only Creator or all person. There is no great spirit save Tien, who was an on-time mortal, but hath risen to all power in heaven and earth. And other spirits said, There is nothing in heaven that ye have not on earth. How shall we find Oahspe? Waste not your time with Sheen and his doctrines. He will overthrow your kingdoms, eat, drink, and satiate your desires, for these are the sum and substances of all things in heaven and earth. TZ, king of Ashong, the capital city of the province of Ayinpo, totally butchered that, by the way, who was withal a great philosopher and previously heard Sheen preach and was greatly interested. Sometime after this, magician Lo Shin visited TZ, who told the magician about the wonders of Sheen. The magician listened to the king's story, and the king asked the magician whether he could himself, in addition to his sleight of hand, manifest wisdom in words like Sheen, and if so, how could he be obtained? Lo Sin, the magician, answered, TZ, O king, thou knowest not how thou hast embarrassed me, thy servant, for when we are young and finding we have the natural powers for a magician, we go before an adept to be taught all the mysteries of the order. And here we take a most binding oath never to reveal by hint or word or mark or written character anything that would reveal any of our signs of mysteries, binding ourselves under great penalties, which I cannot name to thee. Know then, O king, I can answer all thy questions and am desirous to serve thee, but what shall I do? The king said, I, being king, absolve thee from thy oath. The magician said, compared to my power, I only beg from door to door. Thy power, O king, is but a chaff before the wind. And my subtle realms are the keys of all dominions. Not only do I and my craft rule over mortals, but over the spirits of the dead. My oath then is too great for thee to absolve, for I cannot even absolve it myself. TZ, the king said, since then thou canst not do all things, and especially absolve an oath, thou art not sufficient for me to deal with. Lo Sin, being desirous of earning something, said, As for that, O king, I tell thee I cannot reveal all, but for the virtue of my art dependeth much on its secrets and mystery. Nevertheless, as I am very poor, I might reveal an index to thee, to which if thou wouldest apply thyself diligently, thou mightest obtain the remainder. The king thereupon commanded him to perform before him, agreeing to award him according to the decree of the fates, spirits. And Lo Sin at once fell to work performing wonderful feats, such as causing the tables and seats and desks to move about and roll over, and to cause voices to speak in unseen places, He also changed rods into serpents and caused birds to sit on the king's shoulder, and he changed water into wine, and also brought fish and laid them on the floor at the king's feet. The king said unto him, all these things I have witnessed from my youth up. Show me now, wouldst thou remainest here, how thou canst see into my neighbor's house? The magician said, yea, O king, but for the feat it is necessary to enter the state of the Holy Ghost trance, and the price is expensive. The king said, I will pay thee, therefore enter into the state of the Holy Ghost. Losin turned up his eyes and gave a shudder, as one dying, and having stretched himself on the floor, bade the king question him. The king said, here is chalk. Mark thou on the floor the character which is on top of my table, on the left of the throne. Thereupon the magician marked correctly. And now again the king tried him as to his power to see without his eyes and in far off places. And having proved him in many ways, the king said, canst thou also show the spirits of the dead? Losin said, of a truth I can, O king, but that requires me to enter the sublime state of creation, and is yet more expensive. The king said, have I not said I will pay thee? Go to, then, enter thou sublime state of creation at once. Losin then went into a dark corner and laid himself down on the floor, and then swallowed his tongue, and was motionless and stiff, like one that is quite dead. Presently a light like a thin smoke rose up from the body and stood a little aside, and a voice spake out of the light, saying, who art thou that callest up the spirits of the dead? Beware, he whose body lieth stiff and cold beside me is one of the heirs of the immortal gods. What wouldest thou, man on earth? The king said, who art thou? The voice answered, I am Jas Tn, ruler of heaven and earth, the great spirit personified, creator of all things. The king in satire said, thou art welcomed, O Tn. I am one of the most blessed of mortals, because thou hast made my place a holy place. The spirit then assumed mortal shape and stood before the king, even whilst the magician's body lay on the floor, in sight also. The spirit said, what question is it thou troubleth thee? O king, speak thou, and I will answer thee, for I am all wisdom and truth personified. The king said, why hasn't thou not appeared to me before this? Why have I been left in the dark as thy real existence? Answer thou me this, for it is the foundation of which I desire to rest my questions. The spirit said, my son Tz, I have been with thee from the youth up, watching over thee, for thou shalt become the greatest king in all the world. Yeah, there are great works for thee to do, and if thou desire to extend thy kingdom or to gain great battles, I will show thee the way. Or if thou desire another woman to wife, I will find her for thee. The king said, thou art a great heavenly ruler. I am fully believed, but thou answered not my question. Moreover, thou questioned me about my kingdom and about another woman to wife. And these things are not what I desire of thee. And for the matter of the woman, I have not yet one wife. Consequently, I desire not another. The spirit said, who saith thou I am? The king replied, I am at a loss to know if thou art a fool or a devil. And I say that I have either seen one like thee, or else thee, through many a magician, but alas, there are all no knowledge endeth. The spirit said, thou sayest, thou would pay that the fates decree. Hear me then, O king, thou shalt give to Lucin 4 pieces of gold, and after that I will explain all things to thee. The king then cast the 4 pieces of gold to Lucin, and demanded the knowledge as promised. The spirit then said, and on thy oath thou wilt not reveal. The king said, I solemnly swear to reveal naught of what thou teachest me. The spirit said, know then, O king, I am Lucin the magician. By long training, the magician attaineth to go out of his body to spirit, and to appear in any form or shape desired. Wilt thou try me? The king said, show me the spirit of the king. Ha, go to see. The spirit walked back to the body of Lucin and presently returned before the king. looking like the spirit of how go to see. The king said, it is like the king. The spirit answered, then, oh man, is the end of the philosophy. Behold, I am loose in also. Some men are one spirit, some two, some three, and some four, to one corporeal body. And yet there is but one person, in fact. The king asked, what becometh of the spirit when the corporeal part is dead? The spirit answered, one of two things is possible to every man. His spirit will either dissolve into non-existence and be scattered and void like the air of heaven, like the heat of fire that is burnt out, or else it will reincarnate itself in the body of a child before it is born, and so live over again. That's partially true. Thus came all people into the world. A child that is stillborn is one in whose body no spirit reincarnated itself. There are no new creations. The same people live now on the earth that always lived on it, nor will there be any others. They go out of one body when it is old and worn out, and they enter young one and live over again and again and forever. Nor is there more or less unto any man, woman, or child in all the world. Spirit trapping here. We're getting a little feeling of that. The king asked, what then is the highest, best thing for mortal man to do during life? The spirit said, to eat, drink, and sleep, and rest, and enjoy begetting numerous offspring. The king asked, how would a spirit live if it did not reincarnate itself? The spirit said, if the mortal body is burnt to ashes, then that is the time. If the body is buried and rot, return to earth, then that is the time. If the body is embalmed and keepeth well, the spirit goeth back into the embalmed body and remain till the body is moldered into dust. When the body is moldered into dust or burnt to ashes, then it is the spirit set free and ready to either reincarnate itself or dissolve and disappear forever. The king asked as if it was thee. It is the same with magicians. The spirit said, thou hast only given 4 pieces of gold. If thou wouldst have more, the price is expensive. The king said, I have told thee I would pay whatever the fates decreed. Therefore proceed. The king said, it will even so the magicians. The king asked, show me now that canst preach like Sheen. The spirit said, thou shalt ask me questions, and I will preach them. The king asked many questions, and the spirit spake thereon. Finally the king said, that is sufficient. I will pay thee. Go thou thy way. As for the preaching and the doctrines, they are nothing. Now will I send and find another magician, for out of counsel with many I shall arrive at the truth. Interesting there. TZ, the king, sent from another magician, Wan Yo, who came and was commanded to exhibit his powers, but he also demanded a high price, which the king agreed to pay. And Wu Yo exhibited. First, he caused a rose to come within a glass bottle, whilst it was shut. Then a small serpent he created out of a rod, and caused birds to come and sing to the king. Then changed vinegar into water, then writing on a stone tablet without touching the tablet, and even whilst the tablet lay under the king's foot. Now, after he had exhibited many more feats of like character, he demanded his money, saying, the angels are gone. I can do no more. The king said, and hast thou not power to fetch them back? Wan Yo said, how much wouldst thou give? The king answered, 3 pieces of gold. And Wan Yo said, in that case, behold, they come again. What wouldst thou? The king commanded him to show the spirits of the dead, so he might converse with them. Wan Yo went into the same place where Lu Sin had exhibited, and laying down, cast himself into the death trance. Presently an angel robed in white appeared and came and stood before the king, saying, most mighty king, what wouldst thou? Behold me, I am the goddess, O Tu Hing, come from my throne in high heaven, and thou desirous of conquest and war, or obtain great riches, or more wives, most beautiful, then I will by my most potent will give unto thee. The king said, I am blessed, O goddess, because thou hast come to see me. But alas, none of the things thou hast mentioned suiteth me. I desire nothing as regardeth thus this world. Give me light as to the place in heaven where dwelleth King Si Quan. The spirit said, was he thy friend or thy enemy? The king answered, he was my deadly enemy. The spirit said, because I asked thee, is he thy friend or thy enemy? For I saw one Si Quan in hell, withering in great agony, and yet I saw another Si Quan in paradise. So then I will go and fetch him that is in hell. The spirit passed over to the corner and presently returned, saying, oh, horrors, demons, hell, and such like, pretending to be in torments as if it were Si Quan in torments. After this, the king called for many different spirits, whether they have been or whether fictitious, and they came all the same. Finally, TZ, the king, said, bring me now the wisest god in heaven, for I would question him. So the spirit went again toward the corner, and then approached, saying, man of earth, because thou hast called me, I have come. Know thou, when I come, I decree 4 pieces to Yo, my prophet. The king said, most just God, I will pay him. Tell me now whence cometh man, and what is his destiny? The spirit said, first, then, the air above the earth is full of elementary spirits. The largest are as large as man's fist, and the smallest not larger than the smallest living insect on the earth. Their size denoteth their intelligence, the largest being designed for human beings. These fill all the air of the earth and all the space in the firmament above the earth. They have existed from everlasting to everlasting, for they were without beginning. Now, whilst a child is yet within the womb, one of these elementaries entereth in the child. Straightway there is the beginning of man. And in like manner are all things produced which live on the earth. The king asked before such time, when man beginneth, whilst these elementaries are floating about, do they know anything? The spirit said, many of them have great wisdom and cunning, and are withal great liars and thieves and rascals. Knowest thou one Lo Sin, a magician? The king answered, yeah. And then the spirit said, well, Lo Sin is obsessed by the elementaries, and they are all great liars, pretending to be spirits of the dead. As for myself, I am most virtuous goddess from the highest heavenly spheres. I tell thee, O king, these elementaries are the curse of the world. They are anxious to be born into life, so they may have souls, and they inspire mortals to paternity and maternity, that they may have an opportunity for incarnation. The king said, thou hast answered well, O goddess. I will pay according to thy decree. And thereupon the spirit departed. King TZ sent another magician, High Goeth, of the rank of priests, and having bargained with him as to his price for exhibiting, commanded him to proceed. High Goeth then exhibited after the same fashion as the others, doing great wonders, and him also did the king command to show spirits of the dead. High Goeth complained about the price, but being assured by the king that his demands would be paid, the magician went into the same corner and cast himself into the Holy Ghost trance. And presently a spirit appeared, saying, greetings to thee, O king. Whether thou desirest conquest or riches or more women, name thou to me, and I will give abundantly. Know thou, I am the spirit of the great Zarathustra. The king said, great Zarathustra, thou art most welcome, but alas, none of the things thou hast named are what I desire. Tell me, O Zarathustra, what is the origin and destiny of man? The spirit said, first then, O king, in the days long past, the sun turned round so swiftly it threw off its outer rim, and the rim broke into 1,000,000 pieces, flying every way, and these pieces are the stars and the earth and the moon. And for millions of years the earth was only a stone melting pot, but it cooled off in time, and the outer stones on the earth were oxidized, and this made moss. The moss died, but the spirit of the moss reincarnated itself, and this made grass, and the grass died, but the spirit of the grass lived and reincarnated itself, and thus made trees. Then the trees died, but the spirit lived, and it reincarnated and became animals. They died, but their spirits lived and reincarnated and became man. After that, the spirit no longer reincarnateth itself, but floateth upward into peace and resteth for a long time, when it finally merged back into the sun and is extinct, like a lamp burnt out. The king asked, how then is it with thyself? The spirit replied, I was the original sun god that came away from the sun to take charge of this world. It is my keeping. The king asked, who then is the all first that still stayeth with the sun? The spirit answered, because thou hast asked many questions, O king, thou shalt pay more money. The king assured the spirit that the money, to any amount, would be paid. Thereupon the spirit asked, Ahuna Arzmand was the original of all, but when the sun threw off its surface, Ahura Arzmand was thrown into pieces, one piece going to every star save the earth. And I came here on my own accord because it was larger and better than any other world. The king dismissed the spirit and the priest and sent for another magician, also of the rank of priest, Guan Li. Guan Li, being assured that his price would be paid, proceeded to exhibit also, and he performed feats even like the others. Then the king commanded Guan Li to call the spirits of the dead. The priest apologized about the expense of the death trance, Holy Ghost power, but being further assured that his demands would be paid, he went into the corner and cast himself into the swoon, stiff and cold. Presently an angel appeared, saying, behold me, O king, I am Brahma. And if thou desire conquest and war, or great riches, or more women, I will grant unto thee. I can tell thee a hidden treasures of rich men, rich minds, and a woman greatly to be desired. Also, I could tell thee how their armies overcome the enemies with great slaughter. And the king said, I am delighted, O Brahma, but I desire nothing of which thou hast mentioned. Tell me of the origin of destiny of man. The spirit said, know then, O king, all things alive have two parts, the corporeal and the spiritual. All dead things are but one, which is the spirit. Thou, O king, wert first a stone, a very large stone. Then when it molded into dust, thy soul went into the silver, a very large piece. But when the silver rusted away, the soul went into the gold. And sorry, guys. And when the gold was worn away, the soul began to run into vegetable life, and after that it ran into animal life, then into a lower order of man, then into a higher order of man, as thou art now. Thus came man up from the beginning, reincarnating himself over and over, higher and higher and higher. And when he is perfected in spirit as thou art, he never more returneth to reincarnate himself. The king asked, what doth the spirit after leaving this world? The spirit replied, thou shalt then meet thy sex partner, the soul wife, and shalt do nothing ever after but sexual indulgence, peopling the spirit realms with delightful spiritual offspring. Pause. That first part is what Dolores Cannon talks about and what I know to be in my heart alignment to be true. That next sexual partner stuff I don't necessarily align with, but that whole section, yep, bingo. The king said it as well, thou hast a wonderful doctrine. Thereupon the spirit departed, and the priest also. And the king sent for still another priest, T. Singh, a Brahmin prophet. And the king asked him, what seest thou for thy king? The priest said, by the rights of my order, I cannot disclose any of the secrets of heaven or earth until thou hast paid the price of indulgence, which is 2 pieces of gold. So the king paid him. T. Singh said, thou desire riches or success in war or new wives, speak thou, and I'll grant unto thee according to the price. The king said, alas, T. Singh, I desire none of the indulgences. Tell me the origin of destiny of man, for I would learn why I am the object and end. T. Singh said, the first of all was Brahma, which was round like an egg. Then Brahma broke open, and the shell was in 2 halves, and one half was the sky, and the other half the earth. Then Brahma incarnated himself in the earth, but he came not up as only one. as he expected, but he came up in 10 millions and 1 million parts, and every part was a living thing, a tree, a plant, or a fish, or a bird, or a beast, or a man. And this is all there is, or was, and ever shall be. But Brahma looked over the world, and he saw that some men were good and some were evil. And he said, I will separate the good from the evil, and that justice might be done. He called all the nations and tribes of men before him. And when they were coming, he said unto them, whoever delighteth in earth, it shall be his forever. And now he died, his spirit shall have power in the reincarnation itself in another unborn child, and so live over again, and so on forever. And he shall have great indulgence in the earth, in eating and drinking, and with women in all manner of delights, for they shall be his forever. But whosoever delighteth in spirit shall be blessed in spirit. He shall not after death reincarnate himself and live over again, but shall dwell forever in heaven and heavenly delights. But since heavenly delights are not after the manner of earthly delights, then shall the spiritual chooser not live like earth people, but he shall live secluded, and shall torment his flesh with fastings and with castigations. Neither shall he marry or live with women, nor beget children, nor have any indulgence on the earth whatever, save merely to live, for the earth is not his, nor is he of the earth. And the more he tortureth the flesh, the higher shall his bliss in heaven. Now when Brahma had stated the two propositions unto the children of the earth, he further added, choose ye now which ye will, for after ye have chosen, behold, there is an end. For ye that choose the earth shall be of the earth, even unto all succeeding generations. But whoso chooseth heaven, to him and his heirs shall be final and forever. Thereupon mortals made choice, and and behold, nearly all of them chose the earth. But in thousands of years and millions of years after Brahma repented of his former decree, for he saw the earth become too full of people, and they were sinful beyond bounds, and Brahma sent a flood of waters and destroyed 100,000 million times 10 millions of them. And he sent Zarathustra into the world to give him new judgment. Zarathustra opened the door of heaven anew, saying, whoever after this chooseth Brahma, and will torture his flesh and hate the earth and live away from the world, he will I save from the earth and from hell also, for I am very efficient and influential with the Creator. Such then, O King, is the origin and destiny of man. Some are born for the earth, however, and some are born for heaven. Nevertheless, the way is open unto all to choose which they will, earth or heaven. I don't know where Zoom, because I record off of Zoom, stopped the video, because I don't know, it just decided to stop. But we're going to finish this. So I do apologize if there is a repeat. I'm very frustrated right now. TZ pursued his researches for a long while, and with many prophets, magicians, seers, and priests, afterward he said, all is vanity, all is falsehood. No man hath answered me aright as to the origin and destiny of man. Even the angels, or whatsoever they are, can only inform me of the things of earth. They only see as man seeth. And it may be true that these angels, and nothing more than low sin, said, the spirit of the magician only, because his body entereth this trance, it seemeth reasonable. Now therefore I will put a stop to these magicians and priests. They are of no good under the sun. So TZ issued a decree covering his own province, commanding magicians and priests to quit the province under penalty of death. And they thus departed out of his dominions. Now it is so happened that in 5 other great provinces, the kings did precisely the same, and about the same time. And these were the provinces, to wit, Shangji under King Lung Wan Ga, under King Lo Ki Sa Bin So, under the King A Ka Ung Gual Go, under King Ti Si Young, and these provinces comprise of chief part of Jaeth. And all these kings issued edicts after the same manner, so that the magicians and seers and priests were obliged to abandon their callings or to go beyond these provinces where dwelt barbarians. Jehovah commanded Sheen to go before King Tz, and when he had come, the king said unto him, Some years since I heard thee, and thou wert profound. I am delighted thou have come before me again, that I may question thee. Sheen said, When thou heardest me before, the Great Spirit spake through me. Now I am well learned, and he commandeth me to speak of my own knowledge. First, then I am a man as thou art, yet every man hath a different work. Thou art king of this province, and I am told, moreover, that thou art good and wise. I hope thou self, I was sent into the world to mark out this land and name it Shinya, Chineland, and to establish anew those that accept the Great Spirit. For Shinya and her people shall remain a different country and different people from all the world. Know then, O king, I come not in vain boasting that I, Sheen, am much or can do much. On the contrary, I say unto thee, I am one of the weakest of men, and yet I have more power than any other man in the world, and yet mark thee, of myself is there nothing thereof to boast. For I am but as a tool in the hands of Jehovah or Asman, and not I myself to do anything, but he through me. I look upon thee and see thou hast been questioning magicians and priests, and thou art unsatisfied. Know then, O king, that this thine error is not magnifying thy judgment. Thou hast worked with magicians who are under the power of angels of the first resurrection, and even angels below them. All such angels teach on their own individual understandings. As wandering individuals they go about, and their miracles are of the same order, merely individual miracles. He who I teach worketh miracles, not in a small corner, but in affairs of kingdoms and nations, not through magicians only, but through kings and queens, and even through common people. Thou thyself art an instrument in his hand. Behold, in the same time thou issuest the decree against magicians and asceticism. Even in that same time, 5 other great kings did the same thing. This is a miracle indeed. No man can counterfeit his miracles. Neither flatter thyself that such matters occur by accident. They do not occur by accident, but by Jehovah. For his angels in the second resurrection are organized and work in mighty armies. Tz said, Thou art great, Sheen, or else they sudden philosophy turneth my brain. Go on, how shall we know? First, then there are angels who are really the spirits of the dead. Second, how shall we distinguish betwixt the first and the second resurrections? Sheen said, Only by seeing and hearing with the natural eyes and ears, and with the spiritual eyes and ears can any man attain to know anything either on earth or in heaven. When the senses are pure and clear, then a man knoweth that the spirits of the dead do live. For I declare, O king, of a truth, that the spirit of my body hath emerged from my body of many occasions, sometimes going subjectively and sometimes objectively. Neither is this a special creation to me only, but it is that which thousands of tens of thousands can obtain by discipline. Touching the first and second resurrection, know thou, O king, spirits that dispose individual things or earthly things are purpose, riches, or personal gain, or marriage, descanting to this man or that man as to what good for him as an individual. Spirits giving great names, professing to be this or that great person long since dead, all such are deceivers and have not advanced beyond the first resurrection. They deny the I am, the great spirit, the all person. Their highest heaven is re-engraftment of mortals and the revealing in lust. They flatter thee, telling thee thou wert this or that great man in a former reincarnation. They labor thee to make profit to their own magician. They are without truth or virtue, or of little wisdom. The second resurrection cometh not to an individual as an individual. It cometh as an army, but not as an individual, but to a kingdom, a nation, a community. For as such angels belong to organized communities in heaven, so doth that organization work with virtuous organizations of mortals. This wisdom, O king, to get away from the individual self, to become one with an organization, to work with the Great Spirit for the resurrection of man. For as thou makest thyself one with many to this end, so laboreth the Father with thee and them. As thou keepest thyself as an individual self, so do individual angels come to thee as individuals. Individual answereth to individual, the first resurrection to the first, the second to the second. Moreover, the all person is over all and worketh each in its own order until a great purpose. Think not, O king, I am making a new doctrine. I am but declaring that which was also proclaimed to the ancients. And as many as came forward in faith were called Jehovah's chosen people, because forsooth they chose him. Judge thou then, whoso denieth the all person and is not of his order, neither hath such an one the light of the Father in him. But he who hath obtained to understand that all things are but one harmonious whole, hath also obtained to know that it's meant by the term all person, for he is all, the consequently ever present, filling all, extending everywhere. In contradistinction from him, two philosophies have run parallel, which are darkness and evil. One saith the all is not a person, being void and less than even the parts thereof. The other saith the only all high is the great angel I worship, who is a man and separate from all things. These comprise the foundation of all the doctrines in the world, or they have ever been or ever will be. The later is idolatry, which is evil, the second unbelief, which is darkness, and the first is faith, true love, wisdom, and peace. Under these three heads are all men classified by Jehovah and his angels. They may be likened to three men looking across a field. One seeth a light, knoweth he see it. Another hopeth he seeth it, but only seeth a white leaf. But the third seeth nothing at all. As witness, therefore, the latter is worthless. The second is a circumstantial witness, but the first is positive and standeth, the highest and firmest of all. He knoweth his heavenly Father. He seeth him in the flowers, in the clouds, and in the sunshine, in the fruits and herbs, and in the beasts of the field, in every creeping thing, and in the stars and moon, and the earth and sun. Its sickness is sickness, in health, in sorrow, and in rejoicing. Verily, he findeth Jehovah in all things. He knoweth Jehovah's eyes and ear are forever upon him, and he walketh upright in fear, but in truth and in faith, pride and rejoicing. TZ and King asked, tell me, O Sheen, what is the origin and destiny of man? Sheen asked, the first present quicketh him into life in his mother's womb, and he is then there a new creation, his spirit from the spirit Jehovah, and his body from the earth, a dual being, the Father createth him. His destination is everlasting resurrection, in which matter man can have delightful labor as he riseth upward forever and ever. The king asked, if Jehovah is all the time creating, will not the firmament become too full of angels? Sheen said, 1,000 men read a book, and yet that book is no fuller of ideas than at first. The corporeal man is not divisible, and so filleth a place. Thought, which may be likened unto a soul, is the opposite of this. 10,000 men may love thy flower garden, yet the garden is no fuller because of their love. Exalted souls in the upper heavens are without bulk and substance, and even so are the regions they inhabit as compared to corporeal things. The king said, I would that I were as thou art, for which matter, if thou wilt use the wand and make me even half as wise, I will give away all my kingdom. Sheen said, thou canst not bargain for faith. For purchase, it is at a cost as sandals. And yet until faith is obtained, there is no resurrection. No bird ever flown from its nest without having faith it could fly. And when thou hast faith, thou wilt cast away the kingdom and choose heavenly treasures instead. Until thou hast obtained faith, thou wilt retain thy kingdom. This is judgment unto the rich man in some way. Riches and kings' kingdoms may be likened to balls of gold tied to a man's feet in deep water. He cannot rise until the cutteth himself loose, and casteth away which blindeth him. So also all men bound in spirit, and until they put their hands to the matter, there is no resurrection for them. TZ, the king, said unto Sheen, because thou hast given me the great light, it seemeth to me I should issue a decree commanding all my people to accept thy doctrines. Sheen replied, O man, how short thou art in understanding our father. Violence is his enemy. Such a decree would be no better than a decree establishing any other heavenly ruler. It would thwart itself. He cometh not with sword and spear like the idol gods. He cometh with education, chief book of which is the example of good works and of peace and liberty to all. TZ said, Thou reasoneth well. Hear me then, thou greatest of men, command me even as if I were the meanest of servants, and I will obey thee. Sheen said, O king, thou tormentest me with my own inability to make thee understand. Thou shalt not make thyself servant to any man, but to Oahspe, the great spirit. The king said, Then I will put away my kingdom. But Sheen said, Consider first if thou can best serve him by doing this way or that way, and then follow thy highest light, and thou shalt not err. The king asked, How sayest thou? Shall I put aside my kingdom and my riches and do as I thoughtest? Sheen said, Thou shalt be thy own judge. If I judge for thee, and thou follow my judgment, then I am bound to thee. Suffer me to have liberty also. TZ said, If the Great Spirit would give me thy wisdom, then would I serve him. How long, sayest thou, a man shall serve him in order to reach great wisdom? Sheen said, Suppose a man had several pieces of glass, some clear, some clouded, with smoke and grease. How long, sayest thou, it would require to make them all clear alike? For such is the self in man, it cloudeth his soul. And when he hath put self away, then it is his soul clear, that is wisdom. For then he beholdeth the Father through his own soul, and heareth him also. And until he doeth this, he believeth not in his person or presence, nor matter how much he professeth. The king kept Sheen many days and questioned him with the great wisdom and delight. One day Sheen said to him, Jehovah saith to me, Go thou quickly unto the 5 other great provinces of Shinya, and explain to the kings thereof who I am. Sheen added, Therefore, TZ, I must leave thee, but after many days I will return to thee and exhibit to thee the testimony of immortal life. The king provided camels and servants and sent Sheen on his way, and after Sheen was gone, TZ said to himself, Although I cannot decree Sheen's doctrines, I see no reason why I cannot decree the extinction of Tien and other idol gods. And thereupon he did as he thought best, prohibiting the priests from doing sacrifice to Joss, God, or Hojas, Lord God, or Tien, or Po, or any other ruler in heaven, save except the Great Spirit. In course of time, Sheen completed his labor with the 6 kings of Japheth and returned to ZZ to die. At this time, there have been established in different places more than 1,000 families, communities of faithists, either through Sheen or his followers, the chief rabbis. And when Sheen returned before the king, TZ, there came from every quarter of the world men and women to meet him and learn wisdom. And all that were in any way sick or lame or blind or deaf, he cured by pronouncing the word Eohai over them. And persons who were obsessed with evil spirits, he healed by permitting them to touch his staff. And many that were dead he brought to life. For he showed before men power to accomplish anything whatsoever. He rose up in the air and walked therein and thereon over the heads of the multitude. And while as he was up in the air, he said unto the multitude, I will now come down amongst you and die, as all men do. And ye shall suffer my body to lie 5 days, that the eyes may be sunken and black, showing that I am dead of a truth. And on the 6th day ye shall cast the body into the furnace and burn it to ashes. And the ashes ye shall take into the field and scatter this way and that no more of me is seen to known of the earth. And that on the seventh day, which shall be a holy day unto you, behold, ye shall witness in the field of my ashes a whirlwind, and the whirlwind shall gather up the ashes of my body, and my soul shall inhabit it, and make it whole, as ye now see me. And I will break the whirlwind and descend down to the earth, and abide with you yet another 7 days. And then ye shall behold a ship descend from heaven in an exceeding great light, and I shall enter therein and ascend to the second heavens. Neither shall any man, nor woman, nor child say, behold, Sheen was a god, nor say, shall ye build an image of me, nor monument, nor in any way do more unto me or my memory than to the meanest of mortals. For I say unto you, I am but a man who hath put away earth, possessions, desires, and aspirations. And whatsoever ye see me do or know of my having done, the same is possible unto all men and women create alive on the earth, remembering that all things are possible with Jehovah or Asman, and to him only is due all honor and glory forever. So Sheen died and was burned to ashes on the 6th day under the superintendence of King TZ, and the ashes were scattered in the field as he commanded. And on the 7th day, while this multitude surrounded all the place, a whirlwind came and gathered up the ashes in a small decree, and the ashes were illumined, and the soul of Sheen went through therein. And he burst the whirlwind and came down even as the king's feet. And Sheen said, knowest thou who I am? I am the king answered, saying, of a truth thou art Sheen. And because of this hath come to pass, I decree that this thy native land shall henceforth forever be called Shinya. And I will send unto other kings also, and they shall decree the same thing. Sheen said, even so do thou, and since the Father hath allowed me 7 days to remain with his chosen, and with thee, O king, apprise thou, whom I will name to thee, to come and see me. And thereupon Sheen told the king whom he desired to come. And Sheen walked about on earth even the same as before death, nor could any man tell by looking at him that he had passed through death, nor were his clothes different, although they were made out of ash in the whirlwind. On the last day that he was to remain, he called TZ and the persons he had selected, and thus spake unto them, saying, my brothers and sisters, in the name of the Great Spirit, hear me. These are Sheen's last words, for the Father calleth me. Be ye attentive that ye may remember my sermon. Be also considerate, for I am no more or less than you. I sent into the world to wall this great people around with Jehovah's hand. I made you an exclusive people for 3,000 years to come. I gave unto you peace and liberty. I have drawn a veil over the bloody past and taught you to love and respect one another. Shinya shall become the most numerous nation in all world. This is the miracle of the Father unto you. On the foundation I give you, shall your doctrines be henceforth forever. Be ye watchful against gods, josses, and saviors, and especially wary of spirits of the dead who profess not great all person. All such are instigators of war, lust after earthly things. Be exclusive unto one another, suffering not outside barbarians to come amongst you, especially to marry with my people. Yet ye shall not war against them. But it is lawful for you to build walls around about to keep them away. And these walls shall stand as the Father's judgment against all people who molest or injure you. And every change of the moon ye shall renew your covenant, which was my covenant with Jehovah, teaching it to your children and commanding them to teach it to theirs and after them, so on forever. Swearing ye unto the Great Spirit to ignore all heavenly rulers, but the Creator there I am, who is everywhere. And now idolaters come amongst you, proclaiming their God or their Lord or their Savior, hearken not unto them, but nevertheless persecute them not, nor injure them, for they are in darkness. Neither ye be conceit over them, for your forefathers were like unto them. The Father hath made a wide world and fruitful and joyous, and he giveth it unto man's keeping. Unto one people one country unto another people, another country, and so on, all the world over. Shinya he giveth unto you, and he saith, Be ye as brothers and sisters in this, my holy land, which in the ancient days was made to bloom a flowery kingdom of my chosen, the faithless of old. But they were neglectful of my commandments. Idolaters came upon them and destroyed them, and laid waste their rich fields. Yea, the bones of my people were strewn over all the land. But ye are now once more delivered, and ye shall make Shinya bloom again as my celestial kingdom. And ye shall multiply and build and plant and make this heritage, which I gave unto you as an example unto the peoples of industry and peace and thrift, and of the multitude that can dwell in one kingdom, manifesting love, patience, and virtue. And by your neglect of war and war inventions, ye shall be testimony of my presence in this day. For the time shall surely come when I will put down all the unrighteousness and war and idolatry, and I will be all person unto the whole world. Sheen had spoken, his last words as spoken. Jehovah's ship of the fire descended from his highest heaven. Sheen will rise up in this, and even so shall he who are pure and good and full of love. A light like a great cloud, but brilliant, blinding, with holy light descended over all the field where the multitude were. Many fell down in fear, and many cried out aloud in great sorrow. Then Sheen went and kissed TZ, and immediately walked toward the midst of the field, and was lost in the exceeding great light. And the light turned around like a whirlwind, and rose up higher and higher, and this was seen no more. Sheen was gone. And now were manifested the power and glory of Jehovah. TZ at once made special laws protecting all persons who rejected God's lords and saviors, but worshipped the all-light Jehovah. 4 other kings followed with the same edicts and laws. The faithless were safely delivered into the freedom without Shinya. Thus end the revelations of 3 contemporary sons of Jehovah, Calipia, Moses, and Sheen. And that ends this book. So guys, I hope you like that ending of that section. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protection energy. Please go within, be the shoulder, be the lighthouse for others, have Amish mindset. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm sorry that that was cut off, and I have to figure this out now. But until the next time, guys, be safe, be seen. Happy Father's Day, early Father's Day for all of those who are fathers. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.